Hello and welcome to the Football for Kids podcast with me, Darren Rees. This is the Football for Kids weekly World Cup update. Every week, whilst the World Cup is on, I'll be bringing you all the latest stories, stats and facts from Qatar. Well, not everything, but the bits and pieces I think you'll like to hear. This podcast was recorded on Wednesday the 23rd of November, and everything between now and next week will be in next week's episode. Shall we start with England then? As you probably know, England beat Iran 6-2 in their opening game of the World Cup. The youngest player of the England squad, Jude Bellingham, got the first goal of the tournament, and it was his first ever goal for England at just 19 years old. Luke Shaw whipped in a beautiful cross and boom! Bellingham scored a super header for the Three Lions. Saka scored 2, Rashford, Sterling and Grealish all hit the back of the net as well. When Jack Grealish scored his goal, he did a very special celebration. Before the World Cup, Jack Grealish spent some time with a young Manchester City fan called Finley. Finley said to Jack, "When you score in the World Cup, can you do this special funny celebration where you run and flop your arms about wobbling them side to side?" Jack remembered and did the celebration to the cameras. Finley must have been a happy lad. England's next game is against USA, the United States of America, on Friday the 25th of November. What do you think the score will be with this one? On the same day that England played Iran, Wales started their first World Cup tournament for 64 years. The last time Wales were in a World Cup was in 1958. When Wales were in the World Cup, they came up against Brazil. It just happened to be that the greatest player who's ever lived played in their first World Cup at that time. Can you guess who it was? If you said Pele, you got it right. Well then, 64 years later, Gareth Bale's men played USA. 36 minutes into the first half, Chelsea's Pulisic pushed a beautiful through ball to Tim Weah, who slotted it past the Welsh keeper and into the back of the net. The Wales team worked their socks off to get back into the game, and they could have scored at least 2 or maybe 3 times, but they just couldn't find the goal. Wales never gave up, and they gave it everything they had. And in the 82nd minute, Gareth Bale was fouled inside the box to win his team and his country a penalty. He put the ball on the spot and looked with deep concentration, and then pounded it into the back of the net. The game finished USA 1, Wales 1. Wales' next game is on Friday the 25th of November at 10 o'clock in the morning against Iran. On Tuesday this week, Argentina, who are ranked number 3 in the world by FIFA, had their opening game of the tournament against Saudi Arabia, who are ranked 51 in the world by FIFA. Do you remember, in the World Cup episode, I told you about some of the biggest upsets in the World Cup? Well, I think we might need to add this one to the list. The game finished Saudi Arabia 2, Argentina 1. Messi scored a penalty after 10 minutes, and Saudi turned the game around to be victorious. The Saudi Arabian fans went crazy celebrating and stayed in the stadium singing and dancing until they were told that they had to leave. Poland and Mexico played each other on Tuesday, and Mexico had chance after chance after chance. They were denied by the keeper a couple of times and just missed a goal by a smidge. Mexico could have been 3-0 up at half-time, but the first half ended goalless. The second half started and Poland came out fighting, and it wasn't long before Poland's Barcelona player Robert Lewandowski was pulled down in a box and got a penalty. Lewandowski put the ball on the spot, took a massive run-up and belted it to the keeper's left-hand side, and the Mexico keeper saved it. It was one of the greatest penalty saves I've seen in a long time. The Mexican fans went completely and utterly bonkers. But at the end, it ended 0-0. France played Australia on Tuesday, and to start with, Australia were all over France and they scored in the 9th minute with an absolutely brilliant goal. Australia went 1-0 up and were going for it with another opportunity outside the box, which just missed the post. However, it wasn't long before the Juventus midfielder Adrien Rabiot scored a header to bring France back into the game. Then, AC Milan's Giroud then scored another. Now France were on fire, and it wasn't long until their superstar Mbappe scored his own header to make it 3-1. Then Giroud finished the game by sticking his head onto the ball to make it 4-1 France. When France got going, oh my goodness did they look dangerous. Germany, who are ranked the 11th best team in the world and are 4-time World Cup winners, got off to a rubbish start in the tournament, and they were beaten by the 24th ranked team Japan, who have never ever won the World Cup. And finally, the winner so far this week for the most goals is Spain. They beat Costa Rica 7-0. Spain are looking like the team to watch in this tournament. I hope you've enjoyed listening to this week's World Cup update. And remember, if you know somebody who loves football just as much as you do, then please tell them about Football for Kids. And whether you're playing football soon, watching it on the telly, or pitch side, I hope you enjoy the game. See you next time.